All right, let's really dig into some things about functions now. So first we are asked whether 9x squared minus 16y squared equals 1 has y defined as a function of x. Remember that with a function, if y is a function of x, then for every x you put in, you're going to get one y out. And since nothing is said about the method and we're given an equation, we should expect that we are being asked to show this using the equation, something symbolic. So let's say I try to get y alone. Subtract the 9x squared and then divide by negative 16. I'll grant that there might be some simplification we could do, but here's where we run into a problem. We've got y squared. The most convincing thing to a variety of people at different levels would be, let's put in something for x. Look at what happens when we put in both -1 and +1. Since -1 and +1 squared equal the same thing, then you're going to have that y squared equals 1 minus 9 over negative 16. And that's giving us -8 over negative 16, reducing to 1/2. Well, when you try to get y alone, if you're introducing a square roots where there was not one before, typically when you're either solving an equation or rewriting a formula, if there's no context for what the variables stand for in the formula, then you've got to put this plus minus. And that's where our problem is. By the way, yes, we could multiply top and bottom by 2 and then split this up. But overall, I'm giving a very specific example here that if we put in -1 for x, we're getting 2 possible answers for y. That's enough, but also when I put in +1, I came up with 2 answers for y. If y was a function of x in that equation, then we should have had, when x equals 1, should have just had 1 answer for y. And when x equaled -1, we should have just had 1 answer for y. Now, by the way, you might think that since both x and y are squared, perhaps we're dealing with a circle. Well, if we made that minus a plus instead, then we do get something very close to a circle. We get an ellipse. Let me zoom in on that a bit if I can. Very similar. And that fails the vertical line test. Since we had a minus instead of a plus, what that's going to give us is something called a hyperbola, which also fails the vertical line test. But we weren't given the graph. We weren't asked to apply the vertical line test. We were given the equation. And so perhaps with a little bit of rewriting, but trying to find some value of x that would give you more than one value of y.